Survivor Series 2024. It happened. It got a lot done this evening, but it even gave us, maybe it tipped its hand a little bit to our Royal Rumble winner. A potential Royal Rumble winner is maybe shown today at Survivor Series. We're going to get into that and more. And was War Games, how was it? Did it deliver on both ends with the men and women's War Game match? I'm your host, Bryan, the Hype Ballard, back at it again with the Survivor Series 2024 results and thoughts, and let's get in. So, we had War Games. One of the things that I felt was very interesting was the rules of War Games. Do they need to be updated? Do we need to have War Games mean something that could lead to maybe favorable spots in the Royal Rumble for the winning team? I would like to see the winning team of War Games or Survivor Series actually get spots in a favorable drawing from 20 to 30 in Royal Rumble or some kind of thing. Maybe they could control of Raw for a night. You guys decide, let me know. But introductions of having CM Punk in the War Games main event and not Cody Rhodes, your world champion. It's an interesting move the WWE chose to make here, putting a little priority on Saturday night's main event and not having your world champion do both. It's very interesting the way they kind of went out, but let's go ahead and let's get into the bulk of the main events here. Another small card by WWE. They like to do their PLEs that way. First up, they decided to go with Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Bayley, Naomi, and Io Sky for the women's War Game match. That's Team Rhea going after Team Liv Morgan. Morgan with Nia Jax, Raquel Rodriguez, Tiffany Stratton, and Candice LeRae. War Games match style opening the card, bookend style open and close end, but ultimately we get War Games officially getting underway after all the participants beat each other up and then a back and forth countdown. You know, I know that's the old school style of War Games, but one of the things I've always felt with War Games is maybe it's time to freshen up the rules a little bit. Maybe we have eliminations that could occur. So we take Survivor Series mixed with War Games and we do a Survivor Series elimination style matches in a War Game setting where eliminations could happen at any point in time throughout the match. Kind of like Elimination Chamber. And we don't actually need all of the people in the ring for those eliminations to occur. I think that could add some seasoning to the spice here and to the meal. But once we do get all of the competitors in the ring and we were waiting for these countdowns, War Games is officially underway. This matchup actually took about an hour of the PLE tonight. War Games officially underway once all 10 competitors were in the structure. Rhea Ripley takes her protective mask off she was wearing due to injury to show intimidation to Liv Morgan. She goes for a riptide. Jax then nails Ripley from behind, and Stratton and LeRae then join Jax, and all three women beat down Ripley. They then hold her in place as Morgan repeatedly hits Ripley with that and pulls out a pair of handcuffs. Ripley then avoids having to put on her, and Io Sky hits a drop kick off the top rope on Jax. LeRae nails Ripley with a tornado DDT. We get a lot of back and forth, a lot of weapons in this matchup. Every single person basically was grabbing weapons and bringing them into the ring at some point here in the match. We do get a very cool spot with Io Sky in a trash can. At first I thought went way to the top and then put the trash can on herself and then did a Io Sky over the moonsault to half the competitors in the cage, hitting a swanton. Stratton then grabs her Money in the Bank briefcase, which was hiding in another trash can, and looks at Morgan and Nia Jax, who were both laying down on the ground, and we're thinking tease, we're thinking cash in, what are we going to do? But Rodriguez questions what she's doing, and that causes another fake cash in as she gets back on the same page as her teammates. We then get a little bit of a Samoan drop on Belair, goes for a pin, and then we get Nia Jax nailing Bayley and Io Sky, and then pulls Belair's braids, ultimately leading to a double power bomb on Nia Jax, putting her through a table from Naomi. Ultimately, Naomi and Belair teaming up with that one. So then we do get at the end of the matchup, Rhea Ripley hits the riptide on Morgan, on Liv Morgan, off the top rope through the table for the win. We get all the women's teammates jumping up here, climbing to the top of the structure and celebrating as an hour-long opening matchup occurs with all the weapons and destruction you can see there in the double ring. Again, I do wonder if we could have some different pacing in these kind of matchups, but overall, for a War Games match, I enjoyed the opening. It was fun. It had a lot of different varieties, but I always feel like with these matches, we do get to the point where we're just getting some back and forth until we wait until the match actually officially starts, and I feel like we can fine-tune that a little bit. Let's go on, and we got the United States Championship match, which we felt like was a very rushed feud on the Wrestling Fans Insight. We talked about LA Knight getting ready to defend his United States Championship against Shinsuke Nakamura. A returning Shinsuke Nakamura just a couple weeks ago. A little bit of a different style to his outfit, a little bit of different style overall, but this couldn't be the matchup where we lose a United States Championship from LA Knight, could it? A little bit of a slower paced matchup in this one. Didn't really feel like they were trying to come down from the War Games match, which just has such high octane. And these guys had the diligence of trying to go on right after. And shockingly enough, we do get a new United States champion in this one, with Shinsuke Nakamura getting the title and dethroning LA Knight. While he does hit a Death Valley driver on Nakamura and then places him on the top rope and joins him up there, Nakamura then trips Knight, hits him with a suplex off the rope for the pin. Knight then kicks out, sends Nakamura crashing the mat, hits him with an elbow drop. Nakamura then sends Knight crashing into the metal plate in the middle part of the ring, between the two rings, and then follows it up with a Kinshasa to the back of the neck for the win. And that's how Nakamura gets with a very clean win in the middle of the ring on LA Knight, taking away his championship reign and starting one of his own. I believe Nakamura is now a 3-time champion in this situation. But interesting note here. This tells me the WWE has WrestleMania season in mind when it comes to LA Knight. Why else would they dethrone him as champion? So LA Knight getting to move on and a potential Royal Rumble winner this year to go against the champion of his choice. Possibly, would you guys be interested in an LA Knight versus Gunther match? That might be an ultimate matchup to see at WrestleMania between the two. And I can see LA Knight going for that title and making a switch over to the other brand. Up next, we have the Triple Threat Intercontinental title match. It was nice seeing the United States and the Intercontinental title matches being represented here on a major PLE, one of the big four. And we got Braun Breaker versus Sheamus versus Ludwig Kaiser in a Triple Threat match. Sheamus attempting to get the one title that has eluded his illustrious career. And then ultimately, everybody felt that Kaiser was thrown into this matchup. But we knew what we were getting here. A fun back and forth paced matchup. Good interaction with the crowd by Sheamus. Really just getting the crowd to work. Getting the crowd to be into the matchup. Coming back up to the peak. Ultimately, we do get Braun Breaker being heavily featured in this matchup. We do get Sheamus being teased with the title at one point, but Kaiser does avoid the pinfall by pulling Sheamus out of the ring. Then ultimately, it's Braun Breaker time as he hawks up, and we get Kaiser hits Sheamus with an inverted Death Valley driver, but then follows it up with a DDT. You think Kaiser's going to get this? No way, no how. Kaiser turns around and bam! Spear from Braun Breaker, and it hits another on Sheamus. 1, 2, and a 3. Braun Breaker keeps moving forward with this Intercontinental title reign, and I feel like it's the perfect spot for Braun Breaker to be right now on the card, heading into Mania season. Let's get a WrestleMania under his belt as world champion. Let's keep pushing forward. Maybe we will get a singles matchup with him and Sheamus at Mania in an attempt for Sheamus to become a WrestleMania moment and getting a Grand Slam championship under his belt. Speaking of belts, we got the World Championship on the line next. Gunther versus Damian Priest. we have Gunther making his way out, Priest making his way out, and both men are really going for a more power versus technical matchup here. I do ask the question before, is it too soon for Damian Priest to get a WWE World Championship matchup after losing it over the summer and getting his rematch? We feel like he was done with Finn Balor, but maybe not, as we would see that Finn Balor would get involved in this one tonight. Also keeping his feud with Damian and Judgment Day still alive and relevant. Meanwhile, giving Gunther a reason to also gain another victory and pushing forward with his world title. It was the right call. I was a little worried the WWE was going to put the title on Damian Priest going into Mania season, which would have made me really honestly feel that they didn't see much as a Gunther as a world title reign. And I think there's just so much to do there with Gunther and his world championship. And I would like to see him maintain that championship. Maybe even, erasing and going over on a little bit of a streak himself with this. No appearance from Bill Goldberg or anybody else tonight, but that doesn't mean streaks aren't going to be made with Gunther in this World Championship. So, Damian Priest looking to probably continue on his feud with Finn Balor as what's next for Gunther? I do ask. What can we have his World Championship match go to? I feel like we do struggle a little bit with opponents for him. Maybe we have... That's why I propose the LA Knight winning the Royal Rumble and going against Gunther. I could see the WWE really pushing for that. They could have LA Knight also challenge Cody Rhodes for his title. But I think we're going to get a little more with the final boss versus Roman Reigns. So I guess Cody would be open for business as well. Yeah. But Gunther, what about Gunther? What do we do with this World Championship getting featured? Speaking of getting featured, check us out at the Wrestling Fans Insight over there at thefansofprowrestling.com. We got TED Tags. We got all kinds of great podcasts over there. Definitely check us out. We do recordings every Sunday if you want to get in on the action. And we got the main event. We got Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn and the Usos. So the original bloodline, original recipe bloodline, plus CM Punk being thrown in the mix versus Extra Crispy bloodline, Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, and Bronson Reed being thrown in. I want to say, I know we have the rule of 5-on-5, but I feel like we could have got away with a bloodline versus bloodline only War Games match and didn't have a need for CM Punk and Bronson Reed to be in this matchup. We got a pretty clean matchup overall. No interference from a Seth Rollins, as some predicted. But Paul Heyman looking like he's trying to keep peace between Roman Reigns and CM Punk, with the caveat that CM Punk helped out, so he gets a favor here. And again, I felt like we could have went with Bloodline versus Bloodline War Games, and it would have been completely okay. I don't think we have to have a set number to this match to go on. So ultimately, I would have liked to see, again, some kind of advantage. I would have liked to see maybe Bloodline or War Games be for the Olafala that Solo Sikoa still holds in order for Roman to get that back and be the Tribal Chief OTC once again. We all know The Rock is coming for Mania. Rock versus Roman. It's gotta happen this year. People are clamoring, and I don't know how much longer we can stretch this story out. But much like in the women's bloodline matchup, we did some waiting. We did some waiting for the matchup to officially begin. Guys not allowed to eliminate each other. And ultimately getting into the cell, we get a lot of back and forth, but it ends up being Solo Sikoa being surrounded by the original bloodline and getting his just desserts with a lot of super kicks, a single from each Uso, and a double from both Usos. And meanwhile, Roman getting his revenge as CM Punk helps out a little, but Roman finishes with a pin. And War Games comes to a close. We get the one symbol from the original bloodline and the honorary Us. But then we also get CM Punk doing the go to sleep, showing he's not quite completely on board, and this was a favor to Paul Heyman. So we worked him into the story, but I mean, I think Cody Rhodes could have even made more sense here than Punk, because he is your world champion, And him and Roman have already had a history of burying the hatchet a little bit. We could have had a Cody coming to the rescue, doing the John Cena superhero thing of the WWE, since Cody did save the WWE Universe at WrestleMania just last year. But ultimately, the match was a fun entertainment. I love that War Games is only once a year, so it does give us a chance just to sit back and relax and enjoy a unique matchup while we move ahead. WWE did okay keeping their sponsorships at a good mild pace with mild commercials, so I don't feel like Survivor Series gets hit heavy with a lot of that, and I felt like it was a very well balanced pace there, so I won't get into that. Let's get into our final thoughts, and here they are. Final thoughts overall. I kind of alluded to them in the video, but I feel like War Games could use a refresh and a reband. I don't think we need to have a formal 5-on-5, but I do believe we could have some stipulations for winning War Games on the male and female side. We could have a preferable drawing for Royal Rumble would be my pick. That way they are guaranteed spots of 20 through, or even 15 through 30 in the back half of the Rumble. You're guaranteed one of those spots and higher chance to win. I do believe that I would like to see more Survivor Series Classic matches on Survivor Series. We talked about it on the show the other day. The idea of having, the New Testament and the Wyatt Six in a Survivor Series Classic elimination match. And I think that would have fit really well right in the middle of the card as the halfway point of Survivor Series. So there's some just ideas to kind of freshen up the concept. But I like War Games. I just think that we could have some classic Survivor Series matchup in there just to build a little bit more to make the PLE kind of play originally, but also with the War Game stuff. Well, those are my final thoughts and results. Let me know yours down below. And I'm going to head and I'm going to get out.